Hi, everybody. As we count down to the holiday of Shavuot, the theme this week of the Counting of the Omer was foundation. And I thought, what better illustration than how to build a strong foundation than the story of the three little pigs? So I'm going to tell my version of the story, and which means the words that I'm saying aren't going to necessarily match the words on the page. But I wanted to choose a book that had pictures that I liked. So here is The Three Little Pigs, retold by Anne, illustrations by Mei Matsuoka. Once upon a time, there was a mama pig and her three little pigs who lived together in a tiny house. And the three pigs were growing every day. They had big appetites and they ate all sorts of growing food. And they were growing bigger and bigger. And one day, Mommy Pig said to them, "You know what? We don't all fit in this tiny little house anymore. It's time for you guys to go out on your own." So the three pigs set off to make their own starts in life. Mommy Pig stood at the gate and waved goodbye and said, "I love you. I'll see you soon. But remember, watch out for the big bad wolf. Make sure that you build a house that's strong enough to keep him out." And they said, "We know, Mom, we know." And they all set off taking different paths. So the first pig was going down his chosen path when he met a man who was selling bales of straw. And he asked the man, "Can I please buy some of your straw? I'm going to build my own house." And the man said, "Well, I'd be happy to sell it to you, but really a house made out of straw is not very sturdy. It's not going to stand up too well." He said, "It's okay. I've got this. I want to be done by like lunchtime, and this is fine. You're here. It's meant to be." So the pig bought several bundles of straw, stacked them up, arranged them into a house, and by lunchtime, he had finished his house made of straw, hung up his hat, and laid down for a nap. But meanwhile, somebody came to visit him. He was awoken from his nap by a knock at the door, and then he heard the voice from outside. Little pig, let me come in." It was the big bad wolf that his mom had warned him about. The little pig woke up, sat up in bed, and said, "Wah! Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." The big bad wolf said, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down." So the big bad wolf filled up his lungs with air and blew as hard as he could, and the house of straw went flying everywhere, up in the air, landing down on the ground, and the little pig went running for safety. "Yikes! I'm getting out of here." Meanwhile, the second little pig set off on his path, and he came across a lumberjack who'd been chopping sticks and asked him, "Could I please buy some sticks to make a house? I'm building my very first house, and I want to build it out of these sticks that you've been chopping." The lumberjack says, "Well, I'd be happy to sell you them, but sticks are fine for Lincoln logs, but really they don't make a very sturdy house for living in." And the pig said, "I've got this. I've got a plan. Don't worry." "Okay, here's your bundle of sticks." And the second pig started building his house made out of sticks. And by mid-afternoon, he had finished. He sat back in a comfy chair to admire his house made of sticks, looked out the window, and who did he see coming down the walkway but the big, bad wolf, who came right up to the door made of sticks, knocked on the door, and said, little pig, let me come in." And the second little pig said, "Oh, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." The wolf said, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down." He filled up his lungs with air, blew as hard as he could, and the house made of sticks wiggled, wobbled, and fell to the ground. The second little pig said, "Yikes, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to my third brother's house," and started running down the path. Well, third brother put a lot more thought and planning into a house that he was building. He drew up blueprints, went to Home Depot, bought the bricks, bought the tiles for the roof, tongue and groove floors, double pane windows, the whole shebang. It took him the entire day to build his house. And by sundown, it was finally done. He stood back in his carpenter's apron to admire his handiwork. Whew, that took a really long time, but I'm proud of that strong house that I built. I put down rebar, I poured a strong foundation, and this house is going to last a long time. Well, no sooner had he said that than he saw, running down the path towards his house, his two brothers being chased by the big bad wolf. He said, "Brothers, come on in. You'll be safe in here. My house is strong." So the three pigs ran into the house made of bricks, closed the door behind them, and no sooner had they done that than they heard a knock on the very solid wood door. And outside they heard the voice, little pig, let me come in." And they all said, "Oh, not by the hairs on our chinny chin chins." And the big bad wolf said through the mail slot, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down." So the bad wolf filled up his lungs with air just as he'd done before, let out his biggest breath, and nothing happened. Oh, he was disappointed and kind of mad. He was really hoping to get to those little pigs. So he tried it again. And he huffed, and he puffed, and he... Nothing happened. The house was made of sturdy building materials and kept the little pigs inside safe. They peered out through their double-pane windows and said, "Whew, that worked. Thanks for building such a strong house, brother." But the wolf wasn't going to give up that easily. He decided to climb up to the roof and see if he could get in through the chimney. Little did he know that after completing the building project, the third pig had put a pot of stew into the fireplace to have for dinner. So the wolf wiggled down the chimney, slid down to the bottom, and when he got to the bottom, his tail dipped into the hot pot of stew, and he jumped out screaming, "Ouch, ouch, my tail, ow, yikes, I'm getting out of here." Shot back up the chimney, ran away, and the three little pigs never saw him again. They sat down and enjoyed a meal of stew together, which was their first of many in their brick house, which they lived in happily ever after. The end. So there's probably as many versions of that story out there as there are storytellers in this world. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And as we get ready for the holiday of Shavuot, we're getting our minds and our bodies ready, just like Moses and the Israelites did, to prepare to receive the Ten Commandments. Okay, everybody. See you soon. Bye.